Hey YouTubers, Glenda here. I want to talk about something that has come up a couple of times. It came up at my July meeting in McKinney, and I just want to address it real quick. I made a statement when I was speaking to the group that I knew people who were not believers at this time who received dream visions and visions of things that are to come. And we know that there are things to come because other people who are Christians have received the same information. There was a lady that in the audience that asked about that and said, you know, how can that be? And I just want to point out that dream visions they're given by God, and they're given at His will. He decides who He's going to show information to for His purposes, and, you know, regardless of what we think about it or who we think should receive that information. In Genesis chapter 40, verse 5, it talks about the butler and the baker that were in prison with Joseph, who received dream visions. They called them dreams, but they were basically dream visions. They were visions of things that were to come. Joseph interpreted them. In Genesis 41:15, Pharaoh was given a dream vision. It was about the famine, the 7-year famine that was coming. And Joseph interpreted that. The butler and the baker were given the dreams or dream visions because the Lord needed it to be made known to Pharaoh that Joseph could interpret dreams, because he was giving Pharaoh a vision and he wanted him to call on Joseph because it was time for Joseph to be promoted. In Daniel chapter 2, King Nebuchadnezzar was given a dream vision, and Daniel was called on to interpret it. And the butler and the baker, apparently, it doesn't seem that they were believers. Pharaoh definitely was not a believer, but that dream vision that he was given was totally for God's purposes, and it was accurate about what was coming. And I think I think we're going to see this happen a lot more, but, you know, Joel 2:28 says it'll come to pass, talking about in the latter days, I'll pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and daughters will prophesy, and your old men will dream dreams, and your young men will see visions. It doesn't specify that those are all believers. We would hope that our children would be believers, but if they're not, it's still up to God who He pours out those things on. It's totally at His discretion if He wants to give dream visions to believers and non-believers. Or maybe it's possible that He's given a prophetic anointing to someone because He knows they're going to become a believer later. I carried that anointing as an unbeliever and would see things that would later happen and would receive information that the world would call psychic information, but it wasn't. It was a prophetic anointing that I didn't understand was a prophetic anointing given by God. You just think it's some kind of supernatural ability when you're out in the world. So we should be careful about questioning, who should be given this or who should be given that, because it's at the Lord's discretion, and it's for His glory if it's coming from Him. Either way. So I just wanted to make this video and just mention that because I've seen so many examples of it, and I myself carried I wasn't a believer yet, but apparently the gift was already there, because I was shown many things that were especially symbolic things, dream visions and open visions that later came to pass, and didn't understand that they were coming from the Lord, that it was an anointing He had placed on me even as an unbeliever, or a gift that He had placed in me. And when I began to walk with Him, He increased it exponentially, and I began to see very frequent and very detailed visions about things in my life, or some of them were revelations that He was giving me about His Word and different things like that. So anyway, I just wanted to share that, and you guys feel free to post your comments if you know unbelievers that have seen things. That we know a lot about what some of the things that are coming because so many believers have seen the same things in dream visions. So someone doesn't necessarily have to be a believer to receive dream visions from the Lord. And there are biblical examples of that. The baker, the butler, the king, and the Pharaoh. The Pharaoh was anything but a believer in the Most High God. So anyway, hope this helps y'all. God bless you.